Take more, make more, baby. Take more, make more. I'm about to say something that's probably gonna piss some of you guys off, and I can't prove that it's true, but I'll bet it is. My job is harder than your job.
How dare you, sir? How dare you? No, how dare you?
Now, I know my job isn't harder than everybody's job, but I've worked enough jobs to know that my job is harder than most jobs. And here's the reason I'm telling you this, and it's not because I just want to brag about it, because honestly, that's kind of lame to be like, my job's hard, like, congratulations. Here's the point, and here's what take more, make more means. It means you take on more responsibility, more risk, more pain, more headache, more heartache, more challenges, difficulty, more blame, then you make more money. And if it's not money, you receive more value. Maybe your goal isn't money, maybe your goal is influence, or maybe your goal is freedom. Whatever it is that is valuable to you, you will have access to more of that if you take on more of the other stuff. I remember talking with my Uncle Brian when I was a kid, and I was asking him, sort of about money and this idea of wealth building, because he'd done kind of well for himself. And he told me this, he said, Brian, that's right, I'm named after him. So older Brian said, younger Brian, he didn't call me that, but to bring clarity to the story.
Nobody cares.
He said, younger Brian, everything is an exchange of value. When you buy a candy bar, you want the value of the sweetness of the candy bar, and they want the value of your dollar bill. So everything, whether we recognize it or not, is an exchange of value. That's why we pay so much money for an iPhone. That's why I pay a kid down the street, 30 bucks to mow the lawn. That's why I'd pay more money for a Coke Zero than I would for a Diet Pepsi. Because this tastes way freaking better, and therefore it's more valuable to me. So we go and we trade our time, and we give the value of, here's my time, I'll do what you need me to do, Mr. Employer. In exchange, you give me money, and then I take that money, which has value, and I trade it for something that's more valuable to me than the money. Maybe it's a Coke Zero, maybe it's a trip to Hawaii. Everything's an exchange of value. So knowing that if we take on more, then we make more, I have taken on immense responsibility through my builds and through my development. I'm responsible for creating return on investment for my investor partners. I'm responsible for paying people. I'm responsible for being insured in a multitude of ways. I'm responsible for neighbors if they have complaints, or the city if they have code requirements or permitting requirements. I'm responsible for warranty calls after homes are built, which has honestly dominated the last couple weeks. The list of my responsibilities is long. It's longer than it's ever been in my entire life. And because of that, my earning potential is higher than it's ever been in my entire life. Now, it's not guaranteed, it's earning potential. And one of the things I'm responsible for is making sure I do these things well so that I can maximize that potential. So the way I see it, you can create this value to exchange with the world around you in 4 ways. These probably aren't the only 4 ways, but these are the 4 that came to my mind. First off, and maybe the most valuable and maybe the least recognized, is the taking on of risk. That is ownership. If you are the owner, you are the equity holder, then ultimately the liability is with you. If you own the rental property and somebody gets hurt on the property, you're the one getting sued. If I do a project and I'm the owner and not just building for someone else and it loses money, I lose money. So through ownership, you take on the vast majority of the risk. And this is highly valuable because most of us don't like risk.
No, God, please, no, no!
And so those who are okay with it or can choose to live in the discomfort of risk, they get rewarded for it. There's also the taking on of responsibility. So let's say even if I'm not the owner, I am the builder and I've been tasked with building this house in a certain timeline, a certain budget. Well, there's a certain weight that comes with that responsibility, right? Now I'm accountable to someone. So willingness to take on a position of accountability, a position of leadership, that's another way to bring value. Because let's be honest, sometimes being the person who's in charge is a pain. And if I'm gonna be the one in charge and I'm gonna put up with that pain, I wanna be compensated.
Show me the money!
Another way is by creating opportunity for other people. And I'll give you a perfect example. Before I started doing this company full-time, I worked as a real estate agent. In fact, I worked on a team under a guy who is now my best friend. And he created so much opportunity that I stayed on that team for almost 10 years. And I made him hundreds of thousands of dollars by my work. Now, why did he get paid? because he created the opportunity that allowed me to make myself that money as well. When you're the person who creates opportunity, you get rewarded. So for instance, when I was a valet for Opryland Hotel, I didn't build a hotel. I didn't attract hundreds and thousands of guests who needed their cars parked and therefore tipped me for it. I didn't create that opportunity. They did. And so the people who own Opryland, surprise, surprise, made more money than me, the valet.
You don't say. You don't say. You don't say.
Because they created the opportunity. I didn't. I just got to capitalize on the opportunity. And the last one is to create value. So the obvious example here is I'm a developer and I build a house, and that has value to the consumer who wants to have a house to live in. And the more enjoyable or attractive or the more amenities or whatever that I can put into this house, the more valuable it is to the person buying it, and therefore the more value they'll give to me in exchange for it. So you've got taking on risk, you've got taking on responsibility, you've got creating opportunity, and you've got creating value. And the theme here is that all of those are kind of hard. The harder they are, the more you get rewarded. In fact, that's why you get rewarded for them, because they're hard and people don't want to do it. Let me tell you something. When I worked at Chick-fil-A, that was about 1,000,000 times easier than what I'm doing right now.
Thank you. Your pleasure. My welcome.
I did not worry about Chick-fil-A when I left Chick-fil-A, and nobody called me about Chick-fil-A. And if Chick-fil-A lost money that month, I did not care because I still got the same paycheck. Frankly, I brought very limited value. I was friendly, so that was valuable, and I offered my time. But the truth is, me offering my time doesn't differentiate me from anyone. Everyone has the option to go in and trade their time for money. And me being friendly and good with people differentiated me from some people. But the truth is, the value I brought, especially as a 14-year-old working the drive-thru, was just limited. And so what I got paid for that was limited. I think it was $7.25 an hour. Later, when I was an agent, I brought a lot more value. I brought expertise. I put people's minds at ease. I helped them make a great financial decision. I brought skillfulness in negotiating contracts. There was so much more value that I brought to the table that I made a lot more money as an agent than I ever did working the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. Now, I take on even more responsibility, far more headache, far more responsibility, far more leadership, far more risk than I did as an agent. And my earning potential is quite a bit higher. So if you want to make more, be it money, freedom, influence, whatever is valuable to you, you want more of that. And as I said at the beginning of this video, take more, make more, take more responsibility, take more risk, be willing to take on more headache and more challenge and more difficulty. If you raise your hand for that and you say, I'll do it, you're gonna get more reward in return. And hey, as usual, if you are getting something out of this, if I have provided value in some way, then the exchange of value that I ask from you is keep watching, maybe like the video if you got something out of it, and subscribe to the channel. That's the exchange of value I'm looking for today. Merry Christmas, see you next time.